Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Chiefs Digest Live Q&A here on Tuesday night on Media Row at the Super Bowl. We'll see how I pull this off. First of all, 7:04. I think that's pretty impressive. I should be better situated so you can see their signage and everything. I'm here at the 810 booth at Sports Radio 810, sharing their space with me for tonight. Truly appreciate that. They've all gone to the media party that's happening at Mardi Gras World. So I'm missing out on that because I want to be here with all of you. And I would choose you and choose this live stream over the media party 9 times out of 10. And here's the catch. And I told them that they're going to have a great time because I am a curse for the media party. When I go, it's a snooze fest. When I miss it, it's a great time. Last year in Vegas, I did not go, and it was at the F1, and like there's people riding cars and simulators, and food was fantastic, great, all of this. 2 years ago, I went in Phoenix, and it was what I was told is one of the most beautiful, breathtaking, picturesque places in Phoenix. And only catches is that held at night, so you couldn't see any of the mountains or the picturesque setting. So I'm more than happy being here, and you might hear a little bit in the background. Most of the shows have gone for tonight, but there's a few. A little bit of shouting going on here and there in some of the booths, so you might hear a little bit, and it's closing up. So I'm guessing the main thing you might hear is just the cleaning up and the crew that comes in. Although this is pretty good shape for tonight, so we'll see how it all goes. Hopefully everything sticks together. Checking to make sure. I'm counting on my quality assurance folks in the comments to tell me whether or not I sound terrible or look too bad. I'm using a different camera tonight, so I don't know. My eye contact will probably be bad. I'll probably be looking back at my monitor. Who knows? You might see my bright forehead and thinning hair way too much, but it's Super Bowl week, so who cares? It's an exhausting week. It is. There's a lot going on. I got here Sunday night, drove in from Kansas City. I don't mind driving. It was a long drive, and I probably allowed Google Maps to take me on a horrific route. But I got here. I probably will not go back the same way. But the thing I love most about driving myself is that I can bring as much junk as I want to. So I don't have to be limited by what I can cram into suitcases for flights and everything. So I enjoy that, and brought my 40 case of water. So I'm all set. You get some Gatorade. Yeah, I'm enjoying life. So Lateral was asking how the food has been. Okay, I will, for all of you, I'm going to give away a little secret here. I have been to Popeyes. Nick has encouraged me that I need to go back to Popeyes and shoot a video of my visit there, so you can all live vicariously through me. But I can attest, like we talked about last week, Popeyes in New Orleans is better than Popeyes in Kansas City. I mean, nothing, no shame on the folks in Kansas City, but it's just better. So I'll definitely hit that. The only other thing I've had in New Orleans so far, Nate Taylor and I ran into each other on the way back to the convention center. So we stopped at a place called Ernest Cafe. He had the shrimp po' boy. I had a blue crab cake sandwich, and they were both legit fantastic. So yeah, the food's been good. I still need to get a beignet, so that's definitely on the to-do list. And like I talked about last week, I'm not the world's biggest Creole Cajun kind of category fan, so it's probably wasted on me. But yeah, I need some beignets. I did see some other chicken places other than Popeyes that are not chains that I definitely need to hit. So we'll figure some things out. Man, Matt bringing it hard with the super chat, Matt. I truly appreciate that. Thank you, and glad you got to see the video from Tulane Stadium. That was a lot of fun. What I was really bummed out about going over to Tulane is that I went over there because I just wanted to see the site of old Tulane Stadium and kind of see where everything was at. I figured out where the end zones were. in the old stadium. Right now, there's dormitories where the old end zones existed, and the one particular end zone, which is the one where the Chiefs ran 65 toss power trap, and Mike Garrett goes in for the touchdown. That is now dormitories, that end zone. The football field itself is essentially a quad. It's a recreation field, and yesterday was a lot of soccer going on. Dick did give me some grief about not having some B-roll of that with my little walk and talk yesterday of Tulane Stadium, so you could see all the co-eds and everything playing soccer and enjoying the quad that used to be the football field. But it's amazing. I mean, you literally walk from a tunnel from the new stadium to where the old stadium used to be, and just that history to me was incredible. I wish there was a little bit more, celebration. There's a couple of markers there, one specifically about the stadium and about because there was a family, the foundation that gave the money to put into building that field and preserving it. So for the quad, so that's recognized, and it's recognized as being the site of Tulane Stadium. What really bummed me out though is that I found out after I was there that Bobby Bell was on campus at the exact same time for an event. And if you saw Mick Schaefer, he was actually had been reaching out to Bobby, working on a story, and so that's how he found out about it. I believe he was the only Kansas City media at that event. I wish I'd known about it. Come on, Mick, give me a heads up next time. Come on, Nick, give me a heads up next time. But it was really a lot of fun. I mean, going over there and honestly, just seeing where that stadium was, shoehorned in on campus, and with the existing neighborhoods that are built up around it, and a lot of rich history there. Both good and bad. Bobby Bell had an amazing story about when he was selected to play in an all-star game there, and the racism that they encountered, and they ended up moving the game to Houston because of incidents that happened in New Orleans. It's just another part of our history. But it's the fact that the Chiefs are now practicing and working out literally a football field away. As Clark Hunt told us today, a stone's throw away from where they won Super Bowl 4. They're working out this week. That's, to me, amazing. So it's really an incredible connection to the past. It was a lot of fun going out there. So yeah, I appreciate that, Matt, and thank you so much for the super chat. That's amazing. You are the new record holder, so I greatly appreciate that. I've probably wandered off too already so much, and I know we already got some questions, and people have been firing in early. So let's just get to it. Nick will be with us a little bit later, so do not worry and do not forget about that. Bill, thank you for becoming a new member. I think you've been a member in the past, so I appreciate you re-upping. That is great. I appreciate that. What was it? Electro Travis had a good question for the media today. I think you're referring to Travis when I think he was asked what question would he have for the media, and why are you all fixating on the officials and the reffing? I'm not. So Travis, you can ask that to somebody else, but I completely get it. It was one of the storylines that I'm already tired of this week. It's fairly ridiculous, but everybody keeps asking the players about it anyway, and I'm sure it will continue the next couple of days. Chris, have you noticed any changes in the way KC is preparing for this Super Bowl compared to previous ones? Honestly, no. I mean, not really. And part of it is the Chiefs have been fortunate that they get to kind of maintain the same schedule that they've had for every Super Bowl. These 4 games, these 4 Super Bowls, I believe they have had their media availabilities in the morning and practiced in the afternoon every single time, whether they were the home team that got to choose or not. It's just always that, and this is the same case. Philadelphia was the visitors and Super Bowl 57. They're the home team in 57. They're the home team for 59. So they got first choice of everything. And, and they chose, to have their practice sessions the opposite of the Chiefs. So they're doing, media availabilities in the afternoon, practices in the morning. And, and that's not the way Andy Reid likes to do it. So he's got exactly the schedule that he wants. I thought that, on opening night, I think that The veterans that have been through this a few times, I think they were a little bit shorter with some of the answers, and not in a snippy way. Just, Patrick and Travis, I think in particular, maybe even Andy Reid, I think I'd put it in that category. Hey, they get a question, answer it, move on. I mean, there wasn't a whole lot of pontificating or rambling on. The younger players, who maybe haven't been through this as much, I think they gave even some of the older players. Charles Omenihu was absolutely in his element last night. I got to see him for a little bit. The crowds around the podiums were really hard to get through. If you haven't seen some of the video, I was gonna try and gosh, I'll see if maybe when Nick gets here, I can move some of the video over to my laptop so I can put it up and you can see some of what happened at opening night last night. But no, I haven't noticed any really changes in preparation. I mean, the team has the very similar schedule. They've done the exact same thing that they've always done, which is, putting in the game plan last week in Kansas City. So this week it is just simply reinforcement. It's honing, it's fine tuning, and there's a quiet confidence. I don't sense any arrogance about it. It's just simply this group is really, really confident. They're feeling good about this, and I mean, I felt this last week with Andy Reid. I mean, I thought that he was, a lot more jovial, a little bit more outgoing, a little bit more, just relaxed than he would normally be during last week and even coming into this week. Now with Andy, I mean, there's always kind of a buttoning up, and I think we saw that a little bit today at the press conference. Not huge, but I mean, I'm not saying this to get everybody hyped up that this is going to be 55-10, but I sense a lot of confidence from this team. So let's see what happens. Brandon, thoughts on Vic Fangio? Media playing him up like he's Spags. I mean, Vic Fangio is a really good defensive coordinator. He's just had a terrible record against Patrick Mahomes. And I'm surprised it's not maybe getting a little bit more play. I mean, and so far, I mean, what we've seen, especially like last night, opening night, you probably don't get as many challenging questions. I mean, it's chaos. I mean, if you're regular here, you've heard me complaining about opening night. I absolutely hate it. It is just such nonsense and a pain in the neck. And I only did like 2 interviews last night. The rest of the time I was just going through. It was a networking event for me because there are so many people in the front office and assistant coaches that we don't get to talk to normally. So last night, since it's so loud and it's such a weird environment, I mean, that was what it was for me. And I was talking to someone, I'll just say, in the front office. I mean, we're having like lean over into each other's ears and everything like to talk because it's just so loud and you can't hear anything. But that's kind of the night it is. So, I mean, hey, the Eagles media probably, and that was the majority of the media last night. I mean, obviously there's national media in there too. And then national media is probably trying to play up a little bit of Spags and Fangio and kind of putting them on the same level. I'm not sure they're on the same level, but at the same time, I mean, the Chiefs are treating him with a lot of respect. I mean, like I said, Fangio's a good coordinator. He's just had no luck against Patrick Mahomes. He's 0-8. And some of those games have been real blowouts. So I don't know, Brandon, if the conversation is going to change during the week, but so far, I mean, there haven't been a whole lot of hard hitting stories. So maybe we'll get a little bit more detail and analysis as the week goes on. Chris, comparing the 5 Super Bowls, where's your confidence level heading into Sunday? I was kind of alluding to this. I think it's the highest with any of the Super Bowls that the Chiefs have gone into. I think they're going to win this game. I think they're the better team. I think the Eagles have some real problems with injuries and some really bad spots, along the offensive line and at the linebacker level. I think it's going to be tough for them. And one of their strengths is running the football. They're going to have to run it to the outside. And outside run defense is a real strength for the Chiefs. I don't think that the Eagles offense and Saquon have gone up against a secondary that is as good against the run as the Chiefs. I mean, Chiefs have had little leaks here and there in the run defense in the postseason, going up against some better teams, better backs. Obviously, it's been a very good run team all season long. And Saquon is special. I mean, I thought he was my league MVP. That's where my vote went. I think he's been that good, and he's that good for this team. But I just sense a lot of confidence from this team, from the Chiefs. I feel like that Andy Reid's figured out something that he can exploit offensively, and if that's the case, that's true. If I'm reading it correctly, then Chiefs are going to have a pretty good game offensively. I think they're going to put up some points. Going into Joe's question, I'll go ahead and get this, now because Nick does not make predictions. I don't ask him to make predictions. I think the Chiefs are going to win. I'm assuming that it's going to be closer than I think. So my official prediction is 37-31. I have a hard time, honestly, seeing how the Eagles could get to that point. But I mean, the Eagles are a good offense, so you have to assume that they're going to have some success. I think the Chiefs are going to try and put this game into the hands of Jalen Hurts, and I think that becomes an advantage for the Chiefs. If Saquon goes off for 240, then Chiefs are probably going to lose. I just don't think that's going to happen. I mean, I can see the Chiefs winning by a larger margin than that, but 37-31 is kind of my safety margin. Like I said, if this becomes a blowout, I think the Chiefs win. If it's a close game, obviously it could go either way. So, Brian, which is more fun, TDs or CDs? Okay, there's probably a joke here that I'm not getting. So, let me check the comments. I mean, because I hear TDs or CDs. I assume you're talking about touchdowns or compact discs. How many teams? Was it how many teams can provide a ring? Yeah. If I missed the joke, Brian, let me know. But I mean, TDs are always fun, and I mean, like I said, if it's compact discs, I still have a large collection of compact discs, so I'm old school, man. I've got that. So, yeah, let me know if there's a joke I'm missing. Cody, how are you holding up? How was it to be at old Tulane and see some history? Yeah, like I said, Cody, Tulane, going over to the campus was great. I mean, and Tulane's a beautiful campus. It really is. And their new football stadium is amazing. They've got some great facilities. I mean, I know the Saints, the Eagles are working out the Saints facility at the Oxnard complex, and that's fairly new. So I believe that's probably pretty impressive as well. But Tulane's put some money into their some facilities. So I think the Chiefs are probably not missing too much this week. There might even be some things. I mean, the weight room at Tulane might be better than the Chiefs have. So I think that happened at Arizona State. I mean, so it wouldn't surprise me. There might be some things the Chiefs take, kind of like, hey, this is pretty cool. Wish we had that back home. Maybe that's how sometimes you get those F ratings on the NFLPA survey. You go to the Super Bowl every year, and you go to a college campus for their facilities, and you get to see how the other half lives. So, yeah, how am I holding up? The fact that I keep stammering a little bit probably tells you a little bit about it's been a long few days already. Did have a good night's sleep last night though, so I appreciate that. That's why one of the reasons I'm missing and skipping the media party tonight, even though it goes until 11 o'clock. The shuttle bus that take us to the Chiefs Hotel down on Canal Street leaves at 7 a.m. So I need to get me some sleep. So and after the live stream tonight, I've got a notebook that I'm finishing up from we got a chance to some of us local media to talk to Clark Hunt today. So some details from that I'm going to have up in a notebook on Chiefs Digest later tonight. So if you follow on the Twitter and Facebook everywhere, Blue Sky, you name it, you'll get the link to that a little bit later tonight. Jackie, do we get that long-awaited Popeyes review? Look, Nick has convinced me that I need to go back because I did make a stop yesterday at Popeyes. It was fantastic. I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail because Nick has encouraged me that what I need to do is to do a video review of my trip and experience at Popeyes. So that's coming. We're going to do it. So we're gonna have some fun with that because it was enjoyable. So, and I'm gonna mix it up. I'm gonna do something that I have not done in Kansas City, but I'm gonna order something at Popeyes that I feel like it's appropriate since I'm here, and we'll see how I feel about it. So something I wouldn't normally order, but there's another little teaser for you for when the Popeyes review comes for what you can watch for. Let's see where we go. Jeff, did you see all the different people asking annoying questions about the refs? Of course. And that's another one of the. I mean, it's one of the hard things about this week is that the way things are set up. I mean, and like I said, I've always said opening night is a struggle in and of itself. The struggle is real. And today, a little bit the same because there were only 10 people available. Andy Reid was one of them, and then there were 9 players, and they were all on small podiums. And so it gets really difficult to hear. You can't hear the questions. We get audio of all the podiums, and so I can go back and at least hear things that I didn't see or wasn't in person for. But you can't always hear the question. So then sometimes the context of the answer doesn't matter. You can, of course, hear the answers about the annoying refs, and those answers are getting shorter and shorter. I kind of pity anyone who continues to ask those questions the next couple of days because the Chiefs are done with it. I mean, I think they tried to be fair, on night one. I think there was a little bit, more not, don't care about that on day 2. Day 3, I might be just next question, and I can't say that I would blame the Chiefs at all for that and the players and coaches. Jackie, I agree with you. Shout out to Matt for that super chat. That was awesome. I appreciate it again. Hey Corey, glad you enjoyed that. I really had fun doing that. Like I said, it was enjoyable going out to Tulane, and and Clark Hunt talked about with that test today. I mean, I think I mentioned that earlier. Is just that he was excited to go over to Tulane. I mean, he was 4 years old at Super Bowl 4. So he has no memories of that game whatsoever. He knows he was there. He's got a picture of him with his mom and his dad at the game, but he doesn't remember anything about it. So, but he's enjoying the opportunity to go over to Tulane and be there and kind of see where the site and go back to where he was 55 years ago. And I'm kind of interested to see if Andy Reid uses any of that history to kind of with his team to kind of connect them to this game and where they're practicing. And he's obviously Mahomes enjoys the history, and Super Bowl 4 was an important game, not just in this franchise but in the NFL, and it's famous because of the audio and the video with Hank Stram. So I would absolutely try to connect that to this team and inspire them a little bit. Yes, I know the president is going to be here on Sunday, and just because of the security nightmare that it's going to increase further, is the only thing I care about it is how it affects me. So we'll see how it affects me. Des, did anyone say anything about Tooney moving back to guard for this game? No. Joe Tooney is not moving back to guard. He will start at left tackle. It's done. I mean, really only an injury, I think, obviously during practice this week, or during the game would change that. But no, Joe Tooney will be at left guard. Mike Kelly, or left tackle, left tackle. Mike Caliendo will be at left guard. She's just kind of embracing that. I did have to say, I asked, Creed Humphrey today, because Joe Tooney's played center, he played guard, now he's at the tackle. I asked Creed if he could play tackle in a pinch if needed, and he laughed pretty hard and said, tackle is not in his skill set. I think he might be underselling himself, but it was I got a little laugh out of Creed when I think he was probably not having necessarily the most fun on the podium today. He's a quiet, reserved guy, so I wasn't expecting him to laugh as hard as he did, but I thought he might get a little bit of a chuckle out of that. Scott with the super chat. Looking back now, what was the biggest pleasant surprise or development this season? Pick Remigio's punt returning ability. I mean, it wasn't so much the the development of that ability, because I knew that Nico had that. I mean, it was a nice surprise that he got the opportunity. You're thinking about development surprises and what's coming along. Good question. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think there's been a few here and there, and I mean, I'm still optimistic about some that I think maybe the Chiefs were banking on and hoping for were possible this year. For instance, I mean, I think next year is going to be a great year for like a Nazi Johnson and a Felix and a DK Uzama. I'm really intrigued to see what those two guys do next year because I think that for different reasons, next year was always kind of the year for them. Nico's a good pick. I mean, I can't deny that. I mean, we talked about Joe Thuney being able to play left tackle as well as he has been for as long as he has been is also probably a pretty good, nice development. Let's see. I'm trying to think also on the defensive side. There's, I mean, once again, I mean, this team, and there's some that you would probably say nice development, but maybe aren't surprises. Maybe they're maybe pleasant surprises, but not like huge surprises. Like I envision the role that you see Jaden Hicks playing right now. I mean, I could see that back in even rookie minicamp and during OTAs. I mean, you could see that Jaden Hicks was a special kid and could really do some things. And the Chiefs brought him along slowly. I think that was smart. They worked him in, and he's developed into an important critical piece for them. I mean, you look at the big plays against Buffalo late in the game, Jaden Hicks was on the field. So, I mean, that would probably fit it into one of the bigger developments. I'm really trying to think about surprises, Scott. I mean, like you said, I mean, maybe Nico fits into that. I'm trying to think. I'm probably missing something, and this goes back to the earlier question about how I'm feeling. So maybe I'm just too tired to remember some other good examples. But again, it's also part of the Chiefs just being such a a veteran-laden team. I would say, I mean, the other to me, the big surprise, maybe, and certainly a big pleasant surprise, was just how this team rolled through injuries. I mean, we talked about it at the time, and we talked about how impressive it was that the Chiefs kind of continued to roll despite a lot of injuries to starters and people that they were counting on during the season. And that to me, I mean, I think remains an unsung story. And we're not probably talking about it as much because all those guys are back now. Hollywood's back, Jalen Watson's back. They've got some of those guys back. I mean, Rasheed's really the only one you're talking about this not being there. But you overcome that by Brett Veach going out and being able to get a DeAndre Hopkins, and you picking up Kareem Hunt, obviously. All these little things just help to offset that. I mean, so that could have been such a big story this week about the injuries that the Chiefs suffered. But I think the fact that they weathered it so well that now it's almost like water under the bridge. And I think just people are forgetting just about how much that this team overcame during the season. So probably prove my picks. I mean, there might be something I'm missing, and throw them in the comments if you've got one. Jesus, also with the Trooper chat. Thank you, my friend. What two offensive players do you see coming back next season? How was the Popeyes? I get a lot of Popeyes questions. I don't mind it. So don't worry. I didn't mind it. Like I said, my first visit was good. I'm going to go back for a second visit. And I'm going to document that for all of you because now I know how many people are interested for sure. You're definitely getting some Popeyes video here in the next couple of days. I mean, everybody that's, talking about, coming back next year. I mean, players aren't talking about it because they're focusing on the Super Bowl and everybody's having the same, pretty good answers. I mean, I think that you're probably going to hear consistent answers from everybody. Hey, would they love to come back? Sure. But hey, that's a question for my agent and that's a question for the off season. I mean, I could see, a handful of, guys that, and veterans, maybe some of the ones that came in, getting their ring and moving on might be choices too. I mean, because once again, I mean, the Chiefs, hey, they don't have all the money in the world from the salary cap standpoint, and they don't have, a history of necessarily committing to older players for a lot of money. So, I mean, I think that's where like a Charles Omenihu, might fit into about, whether he would be back next year. I know there's some talk about Nick Bolton and the Chiefs, maybe still being interested in keeping him. I still think they would love to be able to keep Trey Smith. I think that both those are going to probably be a little bit difficult. Nick Bolton is an easier deal to get done than Trey Smith because Trey Smith is going to be the biggest name on the free agent market on the interior offensive line. So he's going to have a tremendous market for him. I mean, would it surprise me if a DeAndre Hopkins came back? No. Would it surprise me if Hollywood Brown came back? No. I think there's probably just gut feeling, nothing from anybody specifically, because like I said, everybody's keeping it to themselves. I think Hollywood would probably have a higher chance, but I know DeAndre has really enjoyed his time in Kansas City. So chasing a ring and all these things can make up for some things. There are players who care more about rings than money. And hey, if you get a ring, do you now care more about the money than the ring? Possible. But I mean, I think Jesus, I mean, if you're looking at the roster and you're thinking about, possible players who could come back, I mean, let's be realistic. You look at age first. If it's a free agent, it's a player who's over 30 and isn't Kelsey, Chris Jones, that type. Hey, chances are they're probably not going to come back unless they're at a point in their career where they're coming back as a role player on a minimum veteran deal. If it's somebody who's looking for their second contract, and like I said, Nick Bolton and Trey Smith in that category, if they're affordable, really good chance they're going to come back. If they can cash in the bank, then I think it's going to be difficult for them to come back. I mean, there might be some surprises along the way, but let's say you specifically said two offensive players that I see coming back next season, and obviously I'm assuming you're talking about from just a free agent standpoint and who's going to be out there. I mean, Hollywood would be a really good bet for me. I think Kareem would be a really good bet too. It would not surprise me if he's back. Obviously the fact that you don't have deals done yet with Trey Smith, I think makes it, a little bit more difficult to predict that he's going to be back, because that's a hard deal to get done. And then, by and large, I mean, everybody else is, with Creed being, tied up, and I mean, Joe Thuney, Mike Caliendo, you've got a lot of young offensive linemen. Juwan Taylor is going to be on this team next year. I mean, the salary cap implications make it clear he will be on this team. And at receiver, I mean, Hollywood and DeAndre, or Justin Watson. I mean, Watson might be one of those cases that, he's back if they just feel like that they need a glue piece. But, I mean, Chiefs, I mean, at a lot of places they're on offense. I mean, at least if they're not set, then they have the pieces in place to move forward. I mean, if they don't sign Trey Smith, they drafted Hunter Norzad for that possibility and CJ Hansen for that possibility. So there's possibilities. So we'll see what happens, Jesus. But yeah, I mean, that would be my best guess at this point. Let's see where we left off there before I really went on a diatribe there. Brian, which is better, the hotel or the press mosh pit? Well, I mean, I guess the hotel is quiet, so we got that going for it. Not the worst place in the world. I mean, if I had to spend more than an hour anywhere, I mean, I'm taking the hotel, because if I had to spend, a couple hours in the press mosh pit on opening night, nope, not doing it. Andrew, is there any major advantage to being the home team for the Super Bowl? I mean, they're kind of, I mean, I think that there are advantages. They're small advantages, but they're kind of nice advantages. I mean, being the home team, you get home team facilities, so, that means home team locker room at the stadium. That's an upgrade, because the visitor locker rooms at the stadium are not great. They are cramped and they are tiny. So, that's a small advantage. It's a comfort advantage, though. You get to pick your hotel, where you stay first. You get to pick practice facilities. So, like they said, the Eagles are practicing in an NFL facility. It's going to be very similar to what they do on a regular basis. Chiefs are practicing at a college facility. Might be an upgrade in some ways, might be a downgrade in some ways. I mean, the Eagles, you can pretty much bet that at least their facility is on par. Chiefs practicing at a college facility, yeah, hey, it might be a little uneven. So it's a small thing. I mean, it's not a big thing, but it's a little tiny advantage. I mean, I think that all of these are, like I said, they're small advantages. They're not enough for me. I mean, I'm not the type that's going to say, oh, you always bet on the team that's the home team, because they've got that edge. But being able to stick to your schedule. And that's the only thing, Andrew, is like I said, with, the Chiefs and the schedule that they got handed as, being the visiting team, it's a schedule they wanted anyway. So, in that case, it kind of evens out because both teams kind of got what they wanted. So there's little comfort advantages that may not make a big difference, but hey, 1% can always matter. So, Brian, if the Chiefs make zero attempt at Myles Garrett, how stupid are they? I mean, I don't think Chiefs will necessarily make zero attempt. I mean, I think you explore it because, I mean, my recollection is that his contract is actually pretty favorable for a trade. It would absolutely punish the Browns, and I've got no problem with that because Browns deserve to be punished for some of the decisions that they've made financially and with free agents. So, and that's going to be one of the things that's going to be difficult, I think, to get it done, because that's, like I said, let me look up the numbers and make sure I'm getting it correct here. And I do have to keep my eye on the green room because we will, of course, be having our very, very special guest coming in soon. But let me, because that was my first thought when, hearing him demand the trade, and the fact that, he wants it for the right reasons. He's not saying that, hey, I want to trade because I want a whole lot more money. I mean, he's saying he wants to win a ring. So in that, he's pretty much saying that he only wants to go to about 8 teams. I mean, maybe less. And maybe that is even his way of saying he wants to go to Kansas City. I mean, that's the place to be if you want to get it done. Because he's got 2 more years left with ridiculously low base salaries, minimum veteran salaries on the base salary. He's got option bonuses in that contract. And it looks like, once again, I mean, those look like that they are generally have already been paid. So I'm looking at his dead cap number. I mean, it's not pretty and he's, let's face it, I mean, for the money he's going to be due the next couple of years, he's underpaid. I mean, that's the one challenge that, I think whoever acquires him, he may still want a little bit of money just to be taken care of. But he's got a very, very tradable contract. Like I said, one that will certainly hurt the Cleveland worse to move him. And, whatever they end up doing with Deshaun's contract as well could play into that. I mean, maybe they just take the hit on both of them and have 1 year of heck and move on. But, I mean, I think the Chiefs will explore it. I think I imagine they'll reach out to Cleveland and see if there's a possibility of, they get permission to talk to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, Nicole Lynn is his agent. They can talk to her about getting a deal done if they're allowed to. I mean, hey, I fully expect that they would explore it. There's no reason not to. Kick the tires on it and see what can possibly be done. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but you're right. I mean, they would be crazy not to. And I absolutely imagine that there will be outreach on that in some way. Luttrell, how is Super Bowl week as a reporter? Does it make it all worth it? Not many people get that opportunity. And don't get me wrong, when I make my jokes about there's the things about this that make me crazy and cringe and drive me crazy and just wear me out. 2019, Matt, was not as jaded. Everything was a brand new, awesome experience. And it still is awesome. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't ever, forget just how fortunate I am to be in this position. And, I mean, I think about Adam Teicher and, all of the just some terrible, terrible football that he had to watch and experience and endure. I mean, I watched those as a fan, but as a reporter, I mean, I started covering the Chiefs in 2016. I've covered nothing but AFC West champions. I don't know how to cover a team that's 4-13. Might be fun some year, but I mean, I'm not going to go out of my way to go cover a team that's terrible. So I'll stick with the Chiefs for now. But it is a lot of fun. It can be exhausting. It can be grueling. There's sometimes the hours are a little long, and like I said, some of the events are nonsense and drive me crazy. They just get more nonsensical every year, but it is an incredible opportunity and one I definitely relish. And so even when I joke, there's love behind it. So speaking of love behind things,
Well. If it
I love
Matt
Nick
Derrick.
Jacobs. It's Nick Jacobs.
Hello, Matt Derrick.
I love the shirt today.
No, it's true, man. We got to bring awareness. Bring awareness for people that can't read it. There you go. 5 out of 4 people struggle with math. 5 out of 4 people struggle with math.
There you go.
It's true, Matt. It's true.
That is very, very true. How are you doing tonight, Nick?
I'm here, Matt. How about yourself? I see you're at the Radio Row.
I am on Radio Row. I wish I'd been able to choose my seat a little bit better. Unfortunately, there was another show on 810 wrapping up before I started, because otherwise I'd have this giant Super Bowl banner that has the logo and the trophy and everything made out of beads on the poster. Beautiful. I don't think the posters over my head right now are as nice as that one. So I wish we had that one as our backdrop.
All right. Well,
so
Matt, you've learned for future days if you've got to be there. How about that?
There you go. Anything on your mind, Nick, tonight as we get going and dive in? And anything?
Absolutely nothing, Matt.
Didn't know if you had heard or seen anything this week that was of interest to you, or
no. I'm a blank canvas right now. Just a blank canvas.
Are there any potential rants that we can tap into, or are we just going to have to stumble upon them?
You're going to have to stumble upon them because I'm a blank canvas, Matt.
There you go. Lightning round.
Dude, we
won't quite do that to you yet. But
good luck with that.
Wow. No one has faith in me with lightning rounds.
Well, Matt, I mean, you've got how is it 2 years now? Year and a half of saying that, and then they see, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of proof.
I have only myself to blame.
Well, Matt, that's all right. You can only go up from here, huh?
Next question, Neo Thomas. All the big media talking heads are saying roster to roster, the Eagles are outclassing the Chiefs by a mile. What do you think is causing them to say this? I mean, you tell me, Nick. You've probably seen more of the coverage this week. Do you feel like that's the case?
I've not paid attention.
I've not paid attention. Well, you probably still paid more attention than I have, because I've been here rather than watching or listening to anybody.
No, I don't know if you know this, but these were my off days, so I do
know that there are. I know, but your off days are usually filled with football.
Yeah, well, I cherished them this time. I haven't really watched a lot of shows. Haven't really paid attention to what the national media is saying. I really don't care what they're saying. That's great that they're talking about the Super Bowl. That's great they're talking about how great the Eagles are. That's what they did last time, too. That's what they did each time the Chiefs have played the 49ers, because the Eagles are more new. They're new and exciting compared to the Chiefs. Does not mean that, it isn't a Super Bowl rematch, but for them, it's just the new kid on the block that they don't have to talk about Chiefs. So that's great that the Eagles have a lot of individuals. But last I knew, this was a team sport, and you win the Lombardi in all 3 phases, and having a competent head coach and a good general manager and a good coaching staff. So competent head coach, good coaching staff, those are the difference. Look, can players go out and make plays? You bet. But you need coaches that can point them in the direction they're supposed to go and not get in their way.
Can't disagree with all of that. I mean, if there's the tenor of the coverage that's like that, I mean, I can see some reasons for it. I mean, one, certainly this was the same was true in 2 years ago, and it's true now. I mean, there is a location bias towards the Eagles, I think, in the coverage of the Super Bowl. It's more of, I think, a Northeast crowd. It's more, there's obviously more national media. Philadelphia is a bigger media market. There are certainly more people from Philadelphia here than there are from Kansas City. Like I said, there's I think a little bit of a Northeast bias. So the coverage from New York, Boston, Washington, Atlanta. I mean, that there might be, and I know that Atlanta is not in the Northeast, but just the East Coast may be biased. I think there is maybe a little bit tilts toward the Eagles in the coverage, and and Saquon is a special player, so maybe that's part of it too. I don't see it. I mean, I think that these are two pretty even teams for the most part. That's just going to come down to most likely, as we talked about, Nick, who has the best quarterback and who has the best coach. And that's why I think the Chiefs tick both those boxes, and that's why they're probably going to win.
Hey, we'll see how it works out. Injuries happen, so you never know how things are going to go. But the way things are right now with what we have, with what we're aware of, the Chiefs have the better overall team, and they have the better coaching staff. Now, do the Eagles have some great individual players? You bet. But if I'm having to choose between Andy Reid and Nick Sirianni, it's really not a choice for me personally.
For Brian's question about grilled shrimp or coconut shrimp, it was explained to me by the waitress at Ernest Cafe today that you want to go with grilled shrimp because that brings out the flavor more. So if you want to taste the shrimp, you want to get that flavor, you go grilled. So
what brings out the flavor for me, Matt?
Victory.
No, if it's free. really brings out the flavor then for me.
See, that's a tough thing because I do enjoy the fact that I am able to, put this trip on my business card. The only problem is that I have to pay the business bill. So
yeah, but maybe there are tax write-offs somewhere. I don't know.
There's always some write-offs you can find. Julia, what's the silliest question you heard? I mean, that's a competitive race. Although I will say today, I did not hear this firsthand. I have to still go back and listen to the audio. But I was told that a reporter from MSNBC had an exchange with Joe Tooney, first asking about crypto and investing in crypto. And then told Joe that there are AI programs that can predict and tell you exactly who is going to win a game without the games even being played, and with 100% accuracy. And I guess Joe said, "No, there's not." So I would like to see that exchange because it sounded great.
Yeah, sounds like certainly unique opportunity there.
I'm bringing this up from Jackie. Chris Sims says the Eagles O-line is one of the best ever. I respect his work, but sometimes he's too hyperbolic. Well, I mean, the Eagles' offensive line is pretty banged up, so that's part of an issue right there. But just so you know, you run into celebrities here. I did run into Chris Sims earlier today, and I did not speak to him, Nick, because I do not know Chris Sims, and he does not know me, but saw Chris Sims. There you go.
Yeah, well... Chris Sims is not the person I seek out for offensive line evaluations. That's just me.
Andrew, is media night always set up the same? It seemed really tight the way they set up the podium. Seemed really too close to the stands. All right, quick rant because yes, every year opening night drives me crazy, as you all know. But they held this thing in the Superdome, which I would think was because you're going to take advantage of the fact that you've got a football field to spread everyone out. We put the podiums and you can bring in the fans and do all that nonsense. And, you have more room to spread out. Last year did the Super Bowl, opening night at Allegiant Stadium. It was still not great. But it was spread out a little bit more. Still didn't take advantage of as much space as they could have. But last night, Nick, oh my goodness. So they had a stage on the field where the players, came out and everything, and they did their little song and dance. And then they had some musical numbers, like it's the Oscars or something that they do out there on the field. None of the media availability was on the actual football field. All of it was on the sidelines of the Superdome, which meant, you're talking about these sidelines look crowded on game day, Nick, when you've got maybe 200 people on each sideline maximum. You only had like 5,000 people there last night. You're trying to cram on the two sidelines, and it was just painful. The one side, and once again, I don't know why the NFL does this other than if they're just trying to have a big show that looks good on TV, but they put Jalen Hurts and Saquon Barkley next to each other, and then they put Patrick and Travis in the exact same spots next to each other on the Chiefs. So that sideline was just absolutely jam-packed to the rafters. It was easier to navigate on the other side, but still wasn't easy because it was an NFL sideline. They had 120 yards of football field, Nick, that they could have used. They could have used 80 yards and still had room for the stage, but they chose not to. End of rant.
So some things I'll suggest out there from a television background. One, they probably did that so the fans felt closer to the players and could feel like they could hear what they're saying. And so they deliberately
They could feel closer. They could not hear anything.
Well, that'll be the next hurdle to work on, unless they had some app or something that they offered to fans that could listen, just like when the Chiefs do when you're at an OTAs and they have that thing they can put in their ear to listen to. So that's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
So there's that, Matt. Then the second part is there may have only been a certain amount of cable run that the camera crews could do. And that's as far as that could stretch for that cable run from where they plug in.
Funny you should mention that for a TV person, but every opening night of Super Bowl that I have been to, they have provided a emote box at each of the podiums that photographers and anybody can come into and plug into with their cables. No boxes last night, Nick. First time ever. Disappointed?
So, I mean, they're not expensive for an event like that.
No, they're not. One. So I don't know whether you really chalk it up to being cheap or lazy.
Well, maybe somebody forgot to check a box on getting that shipped in a certain amount of time. Maybe they'll show up for the Super Bowl at least. But what I'm getting at is like there's still a cable run where you connect a camera to the side of the stadium over there. And so there may have been, it wouldn't stun me if there was something along that lines that they're like, all right, we got to put the 2 stars here because this is as far as this cable run's going to go on this one. So you put your 2 premium cameras and try to find the balance of that with fans in the stands.
Oh, I mean, I never assume that there's a conspiracy or some high thought out plan behind this. I always assume that it's just people not thinking. So
I don't know, Matt. I don't know, but at least it's past you.
Des, is Tulane similar to St. Joe in terms of dorms wise? I don't know how many people go to Tulane. I assume it's got to be a higher number than go to Missouri Western. I could be mistaken. But
did you get to tour a lot of dorms while you're there, Matt?
I didn't get to go in the dorms, exactly. But Tulane is also it's a much older college, so there's some definitely historic buildings there. The new stuff, but even again, like I say it's new. I mean, the dorms that are there where the end zone of the Tulane Stadium used to be are probably 40 years old. I mean, they look 80, and I mean that in a good way because they just architecture-wise and everything that they're really nice. I mean, and it's very compact. I mean, Missouri Western is, it's a Missouri college. I mean, you have space for days. Tulane is a university in the middle of a neighborhood. I mean, it's been the same size probably for as long as Tulane's been a college. I mean, they don't really have any space. They just kind of go up and everything. So it's more dense for sure. But a beautiful campus. I mean, and no knock on St. Joe, Missouri Western, but Tulane is one of the more beautiful campuses I've ever seen.
Well, man, I'm glad you had that experience. I hope you documented it so you can share with all the people on Chiefs Digest subscribers.
There you go. Nick, do you have any idea why Shad Khan had to bring his however many $1 million yacht to the Super Bowl week?
Yeah, because
other than just because he can.
Well, he probably couldn't book a hotel in one of the media hotels. Everything's probably booked. And
he wants some space at the Comfort Suites. I think we can squeeze him in.
And right now, that's probably the only way the Jaguars are going to be relevant. So.
I did note if the Chiefs win on Sunday, they will have 4 Super Bowl wins in the last 6 years. Shad Khan's team won 4 games this season. Maybe a little overcompensation is all I'm saying.
I don't know, but if he wants to share some of his money with me, we can figure something out.
You'd probably be a deckhand and get a pretty good tip then.
Oh, okay, all right.
Let's see. No, I am not having just fast food. Like I said, I had well, I have had fast food twice. I will have fast food one more time when I go back to Popeyes, but I will have other things. And just, like I said, lunch today with Nate, it was not fast food. That was fantastic at Ernest Cafe.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see a story on that too, Matt. Wait to see.
I told everybody before you got here that you are requiring me to shoot a video of my next trip to Popeyes. So
no, not just your trip to Popeyes. I said you're supposed to take us along with you, like we're a part of the team and we're touring with you. So I hope you took that camera with you when you and Nate went to go have lunch, so we could experience it with you.
I mean, and I
that's
see Nate was
to me.
There was two things about it, Nick.
I don't want to hear any excuses.
I didn't want to necessarily make Nate feel uncomfortable if he didn't want to be on camera, in video for lunch and everything, because maybe he didn't sign up for that. And two, we were both working, so we were both like typing and writing, and while we were eating our lunches.
So Matt,
I say I had lunch with Nate. I really sat across from Nate as we both had our headphones on, transcribing and writing about Clark Hunt.
So Matt, so that camera
Yes.
you have, it can point in different directions where Nate doesn't have to be on camera. Like you could show the atmosphere, you could show what the menu looked like. You could have done all that, man. We gotta work on this, man. Like I feel like I'm locked out of your journey.
I can't have you locked out of my journey. I'm a work in progress, Nick.
I don't know, man. We've already lost a day now of magical content. I could have experienced New Orleans with you as if I was there.
I'll try and do better, Nick.
That's all I ask.
Finally tuned. 5 different left tackles in the Super Bowl for Pat. Have any wide receivers of significance repeated? Brady had Gronk and Edelman. Pat has Travis and I think about receivers repeating. 49ers did it with Jerry Rice.
I was about to say there's some Montana Rice connection, and then Young.
There's that.
Rice.
Michael Irvin repeated. So there's some good significant wide receivers have repeated.
I want to say Lynn Swan from
Lynn Swan and John Stallworth, probably both those guys. Yep. So Pat had. Well, I guess he had Tyreek for one. So he's had a lot of.
You mean that they won?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Because he was there. He was there for 2020. Didn't go as well, but he was there for 2020. He participated.
I'm trying. I guess I hadn't really thought about it. I guess is.
Brady's going to have Edelman multiple times, and then there's going to be a couple times with David Patton and Troy Brown during that era that they had there. I don't know if Randy Moss went multiple times or not with Brady.
I was having a blackout on starting left tackle.
For what?
2022 was Orlando Brown. 23 was what's his name? Remember, I'm on very little sleep, people.
Okay, so 2019 is going to be Eric Fisher.
Yes.
2020, I think, would be Mike Rimmers, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I guess it was. Yeah.
And then 2022 is going to be Orlando Brown.
Yeah.
And then 2023 last year is going to be Donovan Smith.
Yes. Donovan Smith was whose name evaporated from my brain for a few moments.
And then 2024 is going to be Joe Thuney or DJ Humphries. We'll see.
Bobby, Jalen Carter almost exclusively lines up on the right. How likely are the Eagles to change that to put him up against Caliendo? Also, how does Caliendo compare to Allegretti a year ago? I'm very interested in what you think about this, Nick.
Allegretti's a better player, stronger player, had better technique than where Caliendo's at. What the heck they're going to do? Is that where Jalen Carter predominantly lines up? Yes. He lines up on Trey Smith's side. we'll see what happens on Sunday. I don't know what's going to happen, but the Chiefs better have a plan for it in case it does happen and starts wrecking their offense. So we'll see, Bobby.
I'm curious, and I'm intrigued about your theories about how the Chiefs should attack Jalen Carter.
I already did them in our previous podcast.
I know. I just said I just like the way you think.
No, I thought you were telling me I needed to re-explain it. I'm like, no, I'm past that. I've moved on with my life.
No, if you need it re-explained, you have to go listen to 41 is the mic. So.
Exactly. We're trying to get the clicks, the views, whatever it's called.
I love this, Cody, for Nick, and I guess Matt too. Did you see a jet motion corn dog Xavier with the inverted wishbone formation, Hunt and Pacheco?
I hope not.
Got a lot in there, Nick.
I want him to do something new and exciting. At some point, I think he's going to bring out the traditional 65 toss power trap. I think he's got that up his sleeve, and I think he's got some plays off of that.
He's got something off of that he's going to run because he was too eager to talk about it.
I know. The second you brought it up, man, he was pretty on top of that one.
Yeah.
And part of me kind of wonders if he's going to try to run the Philly special against Philly.
That would be pretty funny.
That wouldn't stun me either, but I think that's more so if they're at a certain point in the game. And then this may be the game that if they have a certain comfortable lead, Chris Jones has always been wanting to play at quarterback. Maybe this is the chance. I'd let Chris Jones get the football near the goal line.
Let Chris Jones handle the football. Let's let Travis get some work done. Question is, if they ran Philly special, who would throw it to Mahomes?
I got a pretty good idea.
Is it a secret?
No.
Oh, then lay it on us.
Carson Wentz, dude. It's his old team.
Oh my gosh. I can't believe I didn't think about that. See,
Carson Wentz against his old team, just throwing that right at him. I mean, Kelsey's played quarterback. He could honestly make the throw. You don't want to trust him with it.
Amazing. No, I mean when Travis has thrown the ball, it hasn't always gone well. Yeah. No, that would be fair. Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I mean, it's going to give it away when Carson Wentz comes out there.
Run it.
It's going to give it away when Carson Wentz comes out there. There's two quarterbacks.
There's I mean, you can run a variation off of it, I guess. But I what you and I have been talking about. I mean, I've talked to a dozen people here or more this week. Has been, hey, did Andy Reid, run that play, his version of 65 toss power trap, just so he can run it again in the Super Bowl on a different variation? And everybody seems to be, yes, it's happening.
Yeah, I mean, that really wasn't 65 toss power trap that he ran, that he claimed that he did.
It was not.
It's not.
It was not. So,
and
Seamus Austin.
Hold on. Dez says Worthy threw some in college. Yeah, throwing some in college and playing quarterback in high school or college is different. So that's I threw some passes too for fun last week. Doesn't mean that I should be throwing the ball as a quarterback. All right, Matt, continue.
Yeah, I played center on my Residence Hall flag football champions my senior year. See, so doesn't mean I need to be backing up Creed Humphrey though.
Outstanding, Matt.
Seamus, how's the food? Everybody asking about the food, Nick. So
you're the one that put it out there on the podcast the other day. So I mean,
I definitely need to be taking you all on my journey. So,
where have I heard that before? Weird.
I'm trying to learn from my producer sensei.
Record on, record off.
Dez, why would the Eagles not pick the morning practice knowing Andy prefers that? I mean, I'm assuming that it's because the Eagles want to stick to their schedule, so that's more important to them than giving the Chiefs what they want. But it just so happens that pretty much everything that the Eagles selected is exactly what Andy Reid would have picked were he the home team this year. I mean, maybe they have a different hotel. I mean, and they would have the home locker room at the Superdome, but that's about it. Yeah,
I mean, for the most part, like, the Eagles do practice late. They especially did last week, because I know whenever the NBC Sports in Philadelphia was sending us stuff, it wasn't until like 5:30 or 6 at the earliest. While Matt and I had already left Chiefs practice a solid 4.5 to 5 hours before that. So I think that's the way they operate, and it wouldn't stun me if Sirianni thinks by doing that the players will be in the rhythm by the time the Super Bowl starts, and their bodies will already be used to that. If that makes sense out there, to where the kickoff's at 5:35, so if you have practices close to it, they're already kind of used to that rhythm to begin with.
There you go. Brian, if you're the starting quarterback staring at Karlaftis, Jones, Omenihu, and Garrett, do you snap the ball on one or two? Everybody wants Myles Garrett, Nick, and I have not had a chance to talk to you yet. I'm kind of. What do you think? I mean, should the Chiefs pursue the possibility of adding Myles Garrett in the offseason? Which I know you love offseason questions during Super Bowl week.
Well, I mean, this one's going to come up. I'm surprised Cooper Kupp hasn't come up. Let me look at his age. I'm look at his age and his number before I go getting all crazy about it. Because the number one problem you have for Myles is, look, he is a dominant player. He's still got a lot of quality left. Okay, so he's 29.
Turns 30 this year. Yeah, turns 30 in December.
30. That's not good. Let me look at a trade before June 1st. Okay,
but he's got a void year, but he's signed through 31 or through his age 31 season, 2 more years.
No. Here's the thing about it. If you're doing that, you're expecting Chris Jones to retire within a couple of years, and I don't think Chris is at that point. Karlaftis, you're gonna have to pay in the next year or two. So if you get Garrett, you're not keeping Karlaftis. Like, you're moving on from Karlaftis, or you're using him as leverage for a trade, whether it's for Garrett or for draft picks. You're not keeping that front together. And Omenihu, I would love to see him here, but what Charles Omenihu does in the Super Bowl could earn him a lot of money in the next month. And that's the thing I think a lot of people need to understand about this week is that DeAndre Hopkins, Juju Smith-Schuster, Charles Omenihu, Kareem Hunt, Hollywood Brown, and I could go on, but Justin Reed, Nick Bolton, Trey Smith, all those guys can make themselves a lot of money in the biggest moment possible. If the Eagles are such a super duper roster as all the national media is saying and everything, and the Chiefs come out with a win and the Chiefs dominate them, every one of those guys is getting paid by another organization because they want that type of player in their locker room to create that for them, and they may pay them top dollar. So to get back to the Myles Garrett thing, look, I mean, among anything, you're giving away at minimum 2 first-round picks. That's the first thing you're doing. You're giving up the next 2 years of your future in that front. Then you're giving up another high pick, probably 2 high picks, and it wouldn't stun me if they didn't want another player or 2 either. And and you may think, wow, that's a lot. No, that's with where the Chiefs draft, that's reality. So if you want a player of that caliber, and here's the thing, Myles Garrett gets hurt. Like, that's the thing that they talk about in Cleveland a lot, is that Garrett got hurt far too often. So if you're giving all that away, you need him to be on the field at the level Chris Jones was this year in terms of snap count. And the way Cleveland fans talk about him and Cleveland media talks about him, they don't think he's a very consistent player, and they feel like he only shows up for 4 to 5 games a year.
Yeah, I mean, I can't necessarily blame him for playing for Cleveland and maybe not going strong all the time. I mean, his contract is essentially 2 years left for $44 million in cash. That's doable. Like you said, the trade compensation is a problem. And then you're assuming that, hey, I know I think one of the posters noted that it may not be so cut and dry that all he wants is a ring. He might want ring and a little bit more money. So things aren't always easy, but hey, do you explore it? Sure. And if that were the line, it would be very scary for sure, especially on third downs. And like you said, Nick, I mean, there's some assumptions there with Omenihu. Probably, I mean, he's probably going to be tough to get back, especially if he has a good Super Bowl. Like you said, I mean, this is a make or break game for a lot of guys as far as contracts go.
And here's the other thing people need to realize: quarterbacks are getting the ball out at a quicker rate than they used to. So in this day and age now, you need a 1-3 tech that can collapse the pocket a lot quicker. Do you have a 1-3 tech that can collapse the pocket in on the quarterback in 2.5 seconds? If you do, you give yourself a shot. Somebody like Myles Garrett, I mean, depending on where he's at, that probably takes a little bit, probably takes 3.5 seconds. So if that's the case, then you got to have a good secondary that forces the quarterback to hold on the ball until he can get back there.
Very, very true. Here's the other thing. I'm probably going to lose a lot of cool points with our longtime listeners and viewers, Nick. I'm not a coffee guy. I do not drink coffee. I know you enjoy the sport coffee. Have you had any sport coffee today?
No, but there's a reason why, but I'll tell you about that later. It was smart for me not to do that.
There you go. Some days are like that. Some things. There you go.
Don't worry. Tomorrow I'll do it, but today was not that day.
Bird. I did share my prediction earlier. I mean, I have the Chiefs. My official prediction, which I do reserve the right to tinker if things happen. I'm going 37-31 Chiefs. I think they win this game. I like I said, I actually could make a case that I think that the Chiefs could win by more, but until the Chiefs once again blow out somebody in a situation like this, I'm always going to assume it's going to be a close game. So, and the Eagles are a good team. So,
Matt, I saw
your mileage may vary.
I saw you skipped over some lightning round comments.
I had the lightning round up earlier.
No, Julia and Cody.
I did miss the elongated lightning round. Yes, I did miss that. Oh, yeah. You know what, Nick? You do look like the top of the Royal scoreboard.
No, well, first off, the apostrophe needs to be after the S. Don't insult my family name like that. My family crest doesn't have apostrophe S. Come on, Brian, you're better than that. And no, it's not. It's not like it. The trophy case with all the trophies.
It does look more like the Kaufman scoreboard than Bartle Hall, though.
Nope. 0 for 2.
No, 0 for 2. Oh, Bird, what will the excuse be this year after an Eagle loss? The paint on the field, the refs, they miss Andy.
For me, it's always going to be Nick Sirianni as their head coach. It's not really excuse. It's just a fact.
So apparently, the MSNBC reporter must have been asking everybody about stocks and crypto. So, I mean, that's what I would do. Yeah,
they had to justify their trip down there, Matt.
But if you're a business reporter that covers crypto and stocks, what are you doing here?
It's Super Bowl week, dude. Everybody and their moms. I'm pretty sure my mom booked a flight down there. Yeah, dude. Everybody's down there. It's the most access media is going to have to one of the top stories in the NFL that happens to be the Super Bowl. And on top of it, the Chiefs that have the reach they do. So MSNBC or, Wall Street Journal or whoever wants to talk about stocks, tips, or just regular people in general. As you know, everybody's going to get credentials there. It's the one time everybody's going to get a significant access to some of the hottest names in sports right now. And I'm talking Hansel hot. So if people know that reference, I'm proud of you. If you don't, better watch some Zoolander. But yeah, like everybody's trying to use the Chiefs and Eagles to get their clicks and be relevant.
I mentioned this before you got here, Nick, that I said that I'm a curse. Well, I have many Super Bowl curses. I do not curse the Chiefs though, so you got that going for you. Right. But one of my Super Bowl curses is that if I go to the media party is a dud. If I don't go, it's great. Everybody has a fantastic time. I have received updates from colleagues who are at the media party, telling me the food is insane, that I'm missing out. But I would choose to be here with all of you on the live stream and go to the media party.
Where's the party at and when does it end?
It's at Mardi Gras World and it does go until 11 o'clock. However, I would like to remind you that I have to be on the shuttle 20 minutes away from my hotel at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Okay.
So I'm not staying anywhere until 11 o'clock.
Well, I never said you had to stay out till 11 o'clock, but I feel like you should take your portable camera with you and go let me experience it.
Well, that I should have done.
Because a party doesn't start till Matt walks in. We all know that, okay?
I think that evidence to the contrary exists.
I don't know. I wouldn't know because you didn't document it for me.
Jason, which event and the Chiefs' score corresponding reaction has most influenced KC's continued success? AFC Championship game lost to New England, Super Bowl lost to Tampa Bay, AFC Championship game lost to Cincy. I like this question, Nick.
It's a great question, Jason.
It's a great question. I think we both. I bet Jason, we have two different answers.
Salute you.
I bet we have two different answers.
All right, Matt. Since you're so confident about it, you go first, sir.
Well, I was gonna let you go first. You know,
no, you go first. You go first.
I mean, I can make a compelling case for each of them.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's one that I'm not going to choose for a specific reason, and I can explain that if needed. But if I have to defend my philosophy here, I'm going to go with the loss to Cincy. Because I think that two things happened from that loss. Is that one, I think that it just reinforced, triple enforced, whatever you want to call it. I think that it focused, and this was this minor point, but I think it focused the organization on the right 53 and making sure that they got everybody pulling on the right oars, whether it's the right 53, the right coaching staff, just making sure that everybody's on the same page and they're going in the same direction. Like I say, I think that's a secondary piece. The bigger piece to it, and I think Mahomes has just talked about it repeatedly. And you could say this certainly about the Tampa Bay game too, but the Tampa Bay game, I mean, it had its own issues, but you know, there's more players on this team who were on that since the team that lost to Cincinnati. And just the number of veterans on this team that just send the message that you don't want to be on the losing end of games like that. And that's, I mean, like I said, I can make a certain argument for all three of them. I think the Cincy game recency is certainly a factor in it too. But when you think about, you know, it's not just Mahomes, but I mean, Nick Bolton's only lost Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. These guys have only lost one playoff game. It was that game to Cincy. Mm-hmm. And that's a big chunk of guys who are like, hey, we know what it feels like to lose in the postseason. You young guys, you 2022ers and 2023ers and you free agents, you don't want to know what that feels like. And you know, hey, there's fewer guys who are still around for the Tampa Bay loss. But I think I still, I mean, honestly, I mean, and like I said, I mean, part of it is because the Chiefs had so many. Here's part of my explanation about why I'm choosing this over Tampa Bay. The Chiefs had so many issues with injuries in that game going into it that I think a lot of the Chiefs who were even still on that team realized that they couldn't win that game. They needed to draw an inside straight. I mean, there was 14 million outcomes, and only one of them maybe where they won the Super Bowl. I mean, it was that they were just that overwhelmed injury wise. So that's why I mean I still hear players talk a lot more about the Cincy loss than the Tampa Bay loss.
Yeah, so I mean it's threefold. Like the loss to New England allows you to move on from Bob Sutton and bring in Steve Spagnuolo. Steve Spagnuolo has been a huge part of why the Chiefs have the success they do. And I don't want to know a world where Steve Spagnuolo is not the Chiefs defensive coordinator or Patrick Mahomes isn't the quarterback or Andy Reid is not the head coach anytime soon, selfishly. So there's that aspect of it. And that loss fueled Mahomes for quite some time. The Super Bowl loss, I think, is more of a Brett Veach thing. And I think that's more that motivated Brett Veach to realize that he needed to make sure that he couldn't put it all on Patrick. So, like, that's the lesson he learned from that one. And then the lesson they learned from the loss to the Cincinnati game, I don't think there's necessarily anything they learned from that specifically. It's just that game forced Patrick to become a different type of quarterback in the year after, whenever the Bengals were dropping 8 into zone coverage at times, and Tyreek's speed didn't matter anymore at that point. And the league has, in the 3 years past, 4 years past, you know, the league has decided that they are going to put 2 deep on a regular basis. So you have 2 deep on a regular basis, not just because the Chiefs were part of it, but then the Bills and everybody else, they've been trying to cap every team from being able to have explosive plays over the top. So the Bengals game, I feel like influenced the league more than it did the Chiefs. Now, what Brett Veach took from that is that Brett Veach decided, okay, since Tyreek and his agent didn't want to take the $25 million per year offer that was on the table. Very reasonable. They wanted top dollar. They wanted, top money in everything. Then they afforded them the opportunity to go to Miami. Rosenhaus got that set up, used the Jets against the Dolphins to get the Dolphins to pay more, and then got that done. And then the Chiefs were able to take that and rebuild their defense much younger and faster. So each one of those has their lessons and their purpose to them. That's why that's such a good question, because each one of those forced the Chiefs to do something differently, to continue to evolve and stay in the spot that they're at.
Yeah, and I'm glad you made the Steve Spagnuolo point, because that is almost enough to make that worthy of its own. So, which one? What's your pick, Nick? Which one has had the most influence?
Steve Spagnuolo. That's the most. That's what's going to keep them relevant for quite some time, as long as he's here.
I can't argue with that, and so. I mean, that's an excellent point. It would be my number 2, and it's a close number 2. But you're right. I mean, I mean, that's a crazy thing. I mean, had the Chiefs won that game and gone to the Super Bowl and lost the Super Bowl, could they still have walked away from Bob Sutton? I don't know. It would have been harder, but
yeah.
Connor, who are the most likely top 3 contributors for offense and defense from the Chiefs on Sunday?
So from an offense perspective, I mean, you're expecting Worthy to really kind of have a big performance in it. You're obviously expecting Mahomes to have a big performance. You're hoping Kareem has a really big performance in it. And then you're going to see what you can get out of Kelsey and DeAndre and see if they can have the impacts you're hoping to on offense. On defense, Chris Jones he's going to have to be a big key in it. Then you're really hoping Charles Omenihu can step up at a level that can earn him a lot of money and really be a very dominant factor both in the run and the pass. And then the third one for me is going to be, what can Leo Chanel do? Can he be the guy who helps set the edge for the Chiefs? And I mean, honestly, the Chiefs' run defense collectively is going to be a big, big part of deciding what this game does or doesn't become.
I think that's really intriguing to me, because I feel like Leo and Jaden Hicks are 2 guys that I think the Chiefs absolutely need to have big games, and it's not necessarily from a number standpoint, but I just think they need them absolutely to play consistently, not make mistakes, and help stop the run. I mean, obviously, if the Chiefs win defensively, Chris Jones has got to have a big game. I mean, I think he's just going to be involved. I wouldn't be surprised also if that's the case then Charles Omenihu. I mean, I think if the Chiefs win, their defensive front's going to have a big game, and Karlaftis could be a part of that. But I think those 2 guys, and you know what? I mean, Nick Bolton just always seems to come up big in games like this. He came up big 2 years ago. Obviously, there's probably something in the back of his head that's wondering if this is going to be his last game with the Chiefs. It's going to be emotional, and there's a lot of guys that are in that spot. So, I think this might be a Nick Bolton moment. And offensively, I mean, obviously, yeah, Mahomes. I think Worthy's going to have a big game. But we've been saying this every week for a while, Nick. But I think it's going to be the case this week. I think the Chiefs go and feed Kareem, because I just think that the guy is just too determined. I mean, that's something to unleash, because I think you're going to see a Kareem on Sunday that you just haven't seen before.
Hope so.
Could be wrong. Exactly. Robert asked us a few weeks back. I did see Hunt and Pacheco in the backfield together last game. Do you have a count on how many? I guess they were both on the field in the inverted wishbone, right, Nick? So a handful of plays.
They were out there, that running back fullback dive combo that they used to do with Sherman and the running back. I know they're out there for that. I don't remember about inverted wishbone. I'll say maybe, but it was less than a handful. It's not. Yeah, not something that's a mainstay.
I don't know if I can look it up easily. I'll try to here in a second and see. George Clooney, not that George Clooney, I'm sure.
Wow. I can't believe you stopped by to come see us. It's an honor.
It is a big deal. It is a big deal. Matt Damon couldn't make it, though.
Ran out
How was the vibe on Bourbon Street? I mean, I don't think I've actually been on Bourbon Street. I've been on Canal Street. I mean, I'm still not the world's biggest New Orleans geographic expert, so I'm not sure I have been. I'll just say, I mean, in total, I mean, Super Bowl week doesn't really start usually for a few more days. I mean, Thursday is probably when it really starts getting to be active. Just even being downtown last night, and I say downtown, I guess, well, I was kind of downtown, Nick, because I had to walk 18,000 steps, and most of them were in various reach of the Superdome because I was given imprecise directions on where to go, and ended up doing an entire loop around the Superdome, which is a long, long way. But I mean, like I said, it's like previous Super Bowl experiences. It doesn't really seem to kick in until Thursday. That's when a lot of the fan events start. Right now it's just a lot of media events, and the peripheral activities haven't really kicked in. So I can't really speak to the vibe too much because I haven't really experienced much of a vibe yet. But I'm sure that come Thursday and Friday, the vibe will be real.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. I don't know if that's a good old boy or a bad old boy.
I don't know, Matt. The mystery continues. How many other people are doing a live stream on Radio Row right now? Huh, Matt? Huh?
It's a good question because I see someone across from me, a couple of booths, but I'm not sure if they're on right now.
I mean, Chiefs-wise.
Chiefs-wise? Oh, no. It's us. I'm pretty sure.
That's right. The only place you can physically see Matt Derrick live on Radio Row is right now in the Chiefs Digest Q&A. Are you not entertained, people?
Exactly.
It's like you're in New Orleans with Matt right now.
I am never one.
Oh, if you're on Twitter, retweet it far and wide. Share it on Facebook right now. Share it with everybody.
Brian, this is accurate. Dr. Pepper over coffee. Yes,
yeah, you are.
That's accurate.
You love your Dr. Pepper. That's for sure. I'm going to watch the numbers right now. How many people are going to retweet either Matt or I's tweet with the live stream right now? That's what I want to know. Make me proud.
There's a reasonable chance that there's actually, maybe only one other person live on Radio Row right now, because every once in a while I do hear somebody screaming, and so I assume that they're live. Otherwise, I mean, maybe there's just some family problems going on. But
we all have our struggles, Matt.
Chris, do you see anyone from the coaching staff coaching their last game in KC on Sunday?
Certainly possible.
You say that almost like it's cryptic, but
I'm just saying, at some point, some people want to move up, and the longer you stay at one spot, there's only once you've accomplished the three-peat. Once you've done something nobody else in the NFL has ever done, the question becomes: do you want to go? I hate to say it this way. Do you want it to be like Bill Murray in Groundhog's Day, where you just keep having success over and over and over again, or do you need a new challenge at this point? And so, for some of those coaches, they may. I know it sounds weird to say, they might want a new challenge, and that's not a knock on them or anything. It's just there gets to a point where they may want to be I just need to try something different and change it up a little bit and see if what I learned in Kansas City I can take to another program and kind of work your way up to maybe a coordinator job, maybe somebody that's not a position coach but wants to be a position coach, and you leverage that three-peat to go get yourself an opportunity somewhere else. Now, the guys who are coordinators right now, I don't see them leaving. But anybody that's a position coach that wants to be a coordinator, there's not much room to maneuver up right now. And, that's the unfortunate part when everybody sticks around and stays together.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, and if we get specifics, I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, the Chiefs have 3 players on the defensive side in particular that are either, have been defensive coordinators or are ready to be defensive coordinators. Joe Cullen, Brendan Daly, Dave Merritt, all upwardly mobile coaches still. Joe Cullen's older than the others, but he's been a defensive coordinator in the league. He would like to be a defensive coordinator again. There are still some positions available. You'd be crazy, I think, not to consider one of these guys. And like you said, I mean, being a defensive coordinator, even going to college level, being a defensive coordinator is a bigger deal than being an NFL position coach. I mean, money wise, maybe fairly similar. I mean, sometimes they're viewed as lateral moves, but defensive coordinator is defensive coordinator. So, I mean, it's the next rung up. So, I mean, obviously the Chiefs' offensive coaching staff's been pretty stable, but there are still guys. I mean, Joe Blameyer, I'm sure, would love to be a coordinator one day. Maybe there's a team that thinks that he's ready. There's an opportunity. So it doesn't mean that some of the younger guys, even on the offensive side, could get offers. It still, once again, remains just mystifying that teams and organizations have not rated this organization more for all the success that they have had. But Chiefs been pretty fortunate at that too. But because the longer your season lasts, harder it is to get a job somewhere else.
But the problem a lot of those coaches have working against them is the same thing I said a couple of years ago with Eric Bieniemy. Like, people are like, well, this franchise didn't have a Patrick Mahomes. This franchise doesn't have Andy Reid. So, like, I feel like some of those coaches on staff just get discounted because of that. So then it gets to a point where they have to make a decision for them. Is there somewhere else that they can go prove themselves to prove that it's not for them in their career, that it's not just Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid, that they were a part of that success too and a part of that three-peat. And that's where sometimes other coaches have to go prove that elsewhere, whether it's in college or the pros, to show that they're capable. I mean, look at Chip Kelly. Chip Kelly's back in the NFL yet again, despite having the disaster in Philly and bouncing around a couple spots. Then he goes to Ohio State. They have three. They go from losing to Michigan and having one of the most embarrassing moments of their season with the fight on the field to just turning it on in the playoffs and being able to win. And Chip Kelly was able to turn that into a NFL offensive coordinator job at $6 million a year. So, I mean,
which is also pretty crazy, but
my point is like, if there's a coach that can get an opportunity to go be a college coordinator, that's a position coach, they may have to go take it if they still have aspirations and time's ticking for them to kind of move up the ladder if they want to.
Absolutely. Andrew, what is Spags going to pull out this time? Obviously a crazy blitz, but anything else? Is there anything sticking out to you, Nick, that you've seen that you think, I wonder if Spags might try that?
So the first thing I want to say is, like, for anybody that has an NFL Plus account, go watch the Buccaneers Eagles game from week 4 or week 5. What the Bucs did that game, and it's early on in the year, they didn't have Lane Johnson, so I want you to take that into account. And they're still figuring out their offense and what they're going to be as a team. But the Bucs hopped on them so early and were up 21-0 that the Eagles really didn't have the Barkley run game that they would have at other various points in the year. He had one explosive run that entire game, but they kept him in check. And Vita Vea just wrecked that interior offensive line. They had absolutely no chance. So that run game wasn't very good in that one. And with the Bucs getting up so quickly the way that they did, the Eagles they had to rely on Jalen Hurts trying to throw the football. And that didn't go well. He got sacked, I want to say 8 times in that game when I was watching. And he was just, and I honestly, they didn't talk about it in the broadcast, but that's one of the first times it looked like to me he got hurt. Because there was a 3rd and 20. He took off running, and then he pulled up, and then the way he slid, like he tried to slide to where he wasn't going to catch his knee. And he took an awkward slide, and then he hobbled back to the huddle. And it was a 3rd and 20, like late third quarter, early fourth quarter. But that was when I marked down. I'm like, I'm gonna watch on a coach's film and take a look again, because I was like, he didn't look right after that. And so I kind of wonder if that's where that started. And I mean, I think I don't know. I think there's some. I generally think Hurts has got something wrong with his knees, and I'm curious to see how much that's going to hinder what they can do. But for the Chiefs, they've got to slow down the run. Got to take Barkley away on those explosive runs. Like, don't let him get going. And then if they can do that, then it doesn't matter. And then it puts them in a better spot to attack in the way that fans are hoping for.
we've been talking about it. I mean, and it's amazing to me that last week that Jalen Hurts was not on the Eagles injury report, because I just can't see how that dude is healthy enough. I mean, with the way that he looked in that championship game and after the hit that he took. I mean, but we'll see what happens. I mean, tomorrow is the first day that injury reports for this week will be coming out, so we'll see if there's any adjustment there. Eagles obviously had a lot of guys listed last week for rest and some other various injuries, so maybe we'll sort through the clutter a little bit and see just exactly how healthy or not that the Eagles are. But Jalen Watson's a guy to watch, and if that knee is not 100%, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I say if the Chiefs can put this game in the hands of Jalen Hurts, I think that's what they want to do.
Yeah, you meant Jalen Hurts.
Yes. What did I say?
You said Jalen Watson. I didn't need people getting
Thank you. No, thank you.
What are you talking about, knee injury?
Wow.
Ankle.
Man, yeah. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm telling you, that's why I'm not going to the media party. And no matter how insane the food is, I'm tired.
I won't experience the media party, so I think you should go. If you're gonna I want to feel like I'm in New Orleans, Matt.
Cody, here's an inside question, Cody, with who is doing the reporting for the team this year during practice? As some of you may or may not know, there's a pool reporter that attends practice for each of the teams and then provides a report that is approved by the teams in the NFL. So, you're not going to get any trick plays or formations or anything of that nature. You will get some details about what the practice was about, red zone, goal line, third down, whatever it may be. You'll get some notes like that, but like I said, it's sanitized to a certain degree. But reporters from the PFWA, Pro Football Writers of America, provide that pool report and do it. For the Chiefs, Luke Johnson, who is here from New Orleans, the Times-Picayune, NOLA.com, he is going to be the pool reporter covering the Chiefs. He's a great beat writer, great reporter, so I know he's going to do a fantastic job. Nikki Jabala with she's still with the Athletic, or is that the Washington Post? I can't remember. Once again, I'm tired, and now Nick is giving me the eye.
No, I was looking to see if you're wanting me to look it up, so I took that.
No. I mean, I can look it up. I mean, I do have it right. I have it right here on my phone. So if people would want to watch me look at things on my phone for a few moments, feel free. This is definitely the highlight, I think, of most people's week. As I get back to the microphone.
I mean, I've been waiting for it all week personally.
I try to stall until I can click the right buttons to
stall.
Because Nikki is with the Washington Post, so there you go.
Because she was.
I thought that was the case.
Earlier.
She was with the Athletic, yes, and so I can't keep track of people and their jobs and what they do. Nick, I mean, come on.
Well, Matt, maybe if you went to that media party, you could write them down.
But Luke and Nikki are both great, so I have no problems right there. Alicia is entertained and hit the like, Nick. So very, very good job. Thank you.
I like your style, Alicia. Like it.
I do. We always like your style. KC Chiefs 12. Who do you think the Chiefs do? What do with the left tackle spot before the 2025 season? Draft free agent, someone on the current roster. It's okay, KC Chiefs 12. Nick's just trying to enjoy Super Bowl week. He's trying to embrace, and he's just trying to embrace the run.
It's like that dog trying to chase the next 5 cars. Whatever, like the car they've been chasing is right there, and they're like, "Oh no, that's not moving anymore. Next one." I don't think the left tackle's on the roster personally. I don't think they're on the roster right now. I really don't. You know what is on the roster? The chance for a three-peat this week, physically, just a handful of days away.
I should have saw that one coming, man. Okay, I mean, first of all, I mean, like you said, Nick, we're the only live show right now, so I'm kind of surprised. Unless I've skipped a.
What do you mean we're only live show? Right
well, we're the only Chiefs live show from Radio Row.
Oh, from Radio Row, yeah, probably.
Yeah,
more than likely.
So, so this is, and I haven't really gone full lightning round. So unless I've just skipped a bunch of questions, I mean, we're catching up. So if you got a question, I mean, get it in now, because otherwise I'm going to the media party, I guess, and checking in on the food.
Mm-hmm. And then what else you doing when you're at that media party?
I would be shooting a video of it and documenting it so that you can live vicariously through me and enjoy my journey here at the Super Bowl.
Nailed it.
I did skip Alicia's question. Worried about Mike Caliendo.
No.
Can DJ Humphries play left guard?
No.
But it also has a kind of a crazy, sideways rolling on the floor laughing emoji. So
no, you put Hunter Norzad in before DJ Humphries at guard.
I think she's pulling our legs.
Yeah, I know. But if somebody else was going to try to ask that question, I was cutting them off right there.
There you go.
Already answering it in advance.
What? Cody's not a bot Twitter, so come on. We need Cody's questions in here. Don't flag him. Chris, there you go. You kind of beat it to the punch a little bit here. Nick talking about Chip Kelly. But we didn't really get your thoughts. You just noted that he's an offensive coordinator. What are your thoughts about Chip Kelly going to the Raiders?
Doesn't have a quarterback, so good luck to him.
Well, I mean, with Chip's offense, he doesn't necessarily need a quarterback because he's just going to probably get run over anyway.
Well, he needs a quarterback. He didn't have a quarterback before. It didn't work out well. He's probably going to need a quarterback, among other things. So I know what they do roster construction-wise. All I know is it's going to be fed to Brock Bowers. Like, outside of that, I have no idea what's going to happen. Got to wait for the construction. That's like asking me about, hey, what's the first level and second level of that house going to look like? I don't know. They just dug the basement. Like, they haven't even put the basement in yet. I have no idea.
I mean, Chip had Carson Wentz.
Do what?
Actually, he had Nick Foles. That's right. He had Nick Foles.
Oh, he didn't have Carson Wentz. He had Michael Vick early on.
Yeah.
Because he got ran out of town 2 years from there.
And
they played a game called Bye Bye in the Car.
I mean, and in year 2, he was 6-2 with Nick Foles. He was just 4-4 with Mark Sanchez. So
yeah.
That does lend credence to he didn't have a quarterback. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't entirely get it because I don't know. I mean, I just don't see the fit. And like you said, I mean, he doesn't have a quarterback, so I don't know how well it's going to go till they get him a quarterback. I just don't see Chip Kelly being a, Tom Brady kind of guy. And I mean, doesn't necessarily have to be a Tom Brady guy, but it seems like Tom Brady is supposed to be in charge calling the shots and at least helping Mark Davis. I just don't get it, but I certainly don't get the money.
It's going to be an interesting dynamic because I think Bevel's there. If I remember correctly, I think Bevel's there and Pete Carroll's there. So between the three of them, that'll be interesting because Bevel's spent a lot of time with Pete and they run a certain style and Chip's not a part of that style. So I'm sure Pete's thinking that he'll help him create this new age, new era, new wave, and we'll see.
We'll see. Dez, Chiefs just having a walkthrough practices the rest of the week. I mean, Wednesday will kind of probably be that way a little bit. I mean, I would expect it to be the exact same that the Chiefs do late in the season. No pads, no helmets. I mean, we'll see from the pool report what Luke tells us happens on Wednesday, but that would be a fairly typical Chiefs practice. Maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours, fairly light. Thursday will be the heavier day. That would be 1,000 play Thursday, but at the same time, Andy's not wanting to beat these guys up before the big game, so it will probably be lighter than the typical Thursday practice. And then Friday's always a 10-10-10, even at the Super Bowl. So that's when really they're starting to go through their final script and hammering out and working on the plays that they're planning on running on Sunday and doing their final fine tuning. And then, I mean, we'd say walkthrough. I mean, they'll have their final walkthrough on Saturday. But I would imagine that, yes, the pace and the intensity of the practices on Wednesday will be lighter than the lightest as they usually are. And then just a little bit more intensity on Thursday. And then like Friday, like I said, that's all about final run through, final dress rehearsal to go through and start making sure that you got everything down. You've had 2 weeks to do.
Matt, you're 100% right. Nailed it.
Darren, special teams will be massive on Sunday. Who has the advantage? What do you think? What do you think there, Nick? I'm definitely curious about what you think.
One has Dave Toub and one has Dave Toub. Look, I mean the Eagles were able to block a extra point, if I remember correctly, in that excuse me, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers
You're
game.
even tired too.
No, I'm not.
Said I had sport coffee.
Nope. I was getting the sadness out of my soul. So that's how that happened. Now we're done. Now we're happy. No, look, I mean, Dave Toub is always going to be a big advantage. Bucker is better under pressure than what Jake Elliott's been in the postseason so far. We'll see if that changes on Sunday. And where the Eagles have had some promise, and this is where Nico Remigio needs to be mindful of, is they have punched the ball out a couple of times on returns. So he needs to be mindful of protecting the football and not letting it turn the tide in the wrong way when he does take off of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a chance to talk to him yet, and I do want to try and talk to Harrison in the next couple of days. It will definitely be easier the next couple of days than it has been on the risers and the podiums, especially last night.
Yeah, does it start to calm down over the next 2 days from your experiences, or people hanging out?
It does. I mean, it does, and in part because it's once you usually get to the team hotels. I mean, you usually get and lose a little bit of the national type of media. They are just here for the kind of atmosphere and experience and everything. And there's I would say a lot of non-sports programs that are here at the beginning of the week that kind of start to filter out later in the week. One of the things, I mean, if you're going to cover a Super Bowl, it's cheaper to cover a Super Bowl earlier in the week before the hotel rates go up than it is to cover it later in the week. So, you do see a lot of, especially radio, internet, probably even some TV that, just start to slowly leave. They're there for opening night, and Tuesdays, a lively day. Although I think there was more media today at the Chiefs availability on a Tuesday than I'd ever seen at a previous Tuesday availability.
What it looked like to me from some of the photos and the security line that Mick sent me this morning, you guys were having to check through. That's the longest security line I've seen for a Super Bowl in quite some time. It was longer than the combine.
Didn't help that they only had one metal detector and an X-ray. Usually they have two, so that was also a choice that was made.
I'm just telling you, that line, you could have had 12 of them. I'm still going to be a while.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, and the only reason I finally managed to get in, before the player availability started was that they kind of streamlined things a little bit. They did some just checking of the bags with the drug dogs and the explosives dogs and everything like that. I guess more explosives you're not worried about. I think you could probably bring, I'm not suggesting that anyone do this, but I think you could probably bring drugs into a Super Bowl much easier than explosives, because that's what they're really checking for. But that it was a long line, Nick.
Do you have your ticker thing?
I'm done. We'll take it. We're done. We're moving on. But my point where I started before I really went off the rails. I mean, Harrison Butker's been pretty much the most nails postseason kicker in recent memory. I mean, even going back to the Patriots days. I mean, you get to the fourth quarter. I mean, Harrison Butker's made every clutch kick. So I will always assume that Harrison Butker is going to make clutch playoff kicks late until he doesn't, because that's what the guy does. So I think he's a huge advantage, and I like Matt Araiza. I mean, I think he's gonna be fine. I don't think this moment's gonna be too big for him. I think he's embracing it. He fits in once again the kind of some of the players we're talking about, Nick. That Matt Araiza may have thought at one point that he was never going to be in a Super Bowl, and he's here.
Yeah.
So I think he's embracing that too. And so I mean, special teams, when it comes down to, and you alluded to it, you can't make mistakes. You can't lose the football. You can't make turnovers. You can't bury yourself deep. You've got to win the field position battle. Whichever team does that, going to have the advantage.
100% there, Matt. 100% there.
Nick, Thalassophile Phil. I think I
Of
pronounced
course.
most of those words. I think I pronounced most of those words correctly. It is Phil, correct?
I'm just gonna call him Phil. Phil 4.8, of course. Not to be confused with 4.7 or 4.5. That Phil's just completely different part of town.
There you go. Nick, what are your expectations for D-Hop in this game?
I'm hoping he can come up big in a couple spots in the red zone or a couple short yardage situations where they need somebody to make a reliable catch. And I mean, this is his moment. This is the moment he's been waiting his whole life for, is to play in this game. Same for Kareem Hunt. First time, I believe, a minute he said he's going to play in the Super Bowl. So, I mean, this is a big moment for a lot of guys to really kind of, capture the moment and, make their dream come true. This will be the first time, potentially, Nico Remigio gets to, return a kick in this because he was injured with the collarbone thing last year and he couldn't play. So, I mean, there's Xavier Worthy is going to be able to say for fingers crossed for the rest of his life that he gets to play in the Super Bowl. Same for a lot of the other Chiefs rookies. So, I mean, this is the moment, man. This is you got to pretend like it's the only opportunity you're going to get and make the most of it.
Yeah, I mean, and with D-Hop specifically, I mean, I'm not expecting him to have a larger role than what he's had the last couple of games. I think he's got the packages. I think he's got the plays. They could certainly have a couple of things designed specifically for him in specific situations. Wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, I don't think the D-Hop is necessarily in a position where he's going to have like a 100-yard game. But I don't think that's what the Chiefs expect him. I don't think that's what they're going to ask him to do. But could they ask him to come up big on the third down or in the red zone? Yeah, I absolutely think that they would probably have a couple of specific plays designed just for him.
If you want to play this, Mick sent me this morning. That's how I know about the security thing. You can tell me what you think about this. But yeah.
Oh, it's sideways.
Yeah, no, I didn't. But I mean, I just the line, how long it was.
Yes.
Just how
long.
So
if you tilt your head a little bit.
Yeah, yes. No. If you pretend you have taco neck syndrome.
Yes. And by the way, this is the short version of the line. The line was longer when I was in it.
Oh, really? Because this to me was an incredibly long line.
Yes, it was. Amazingly enough, it was even longer.
That is, dude, that's a long line. I'm exhausted already.
Yeah, and notice it's not moving.
It's still going too.
That being the key is that it's not moving. Yeah, I know the sideways video. I'm sure you all love it there. I was going to show you where it got longer, but
sorry.
But now that you brought that up, I'm going to try and do something. So let's see.
Matt's trying to stall.
Exactly, which is when
stall so he can go to the media party. That's what he's trying to do.
This is what. Well, I'm stalling so I can show more video. So I'm going to have you answer for a moment Neo Thomas's question about having Hollywood having a chance to shine against the Eagle zones.
Yeah, so I mean, look, the way I want you to think about the zone coverage, when the Eagles are going to run it, the Chiefs are after run the trips to that side, whether it's out of bunch formation or just three receivers or receivers with a back going in motion or somebody else going in motion elsewhere. Like, you're trying to manipulate the zone coverage and you're trying to create voids in the zone that they want to attack. So for all that combined, somebody like Hollywood, if you have Worthy and DeAndre, if you have, Kelsey and somebody, or you have explosive wide receivers that can really kind of create that room, then Hollywood Brown can play off that, whether that's a slant or a quick out or whatever. The Bucs were wrecking them with the 3-man things, and I'm gonna put some stuff out after Matt and I get done on here, some stuff on Twitter to show some of the bunches they ran in red zone formation that they destroyed the Eagles with. And I know it's early on in the year and everything, but I mean, there's certain tells that the Eagles give away that the Bucs took advantage of, the Packers were able to take advantage of, the Washington Commanders took advantage of, and so on. So all that combined, there's a lot of room for activities. Like the Chiefs are trying to build the bunk beds on top of each other, just like in Step Brothers, and they're trying to create more room for activities. And so the trips formation will allow them to do that. So there you go.
There you go. Let's see. I'm trying to do a couple. The audio, I may have to try and mute it on one of them because I think it has me talking in it, and that's the last thing anybody needs to hear. In addition to me talking already, talking over talking. And let's just hope it works. Wrong button.
Here, I'm gonna remove mine just in case. There, you just got.
Oh no, you're fine. I was just momentarily forgetting how to add video files. So.
It's the present. Present.
Yes. Let's see. I get asked many questions about what is Super Bowl opening night like. So here's a little taste of it. Walking in from the entrance. I'm gonna kill my audio there because that was terrible. But yes, this is a Super Bowl opening night. Walking through, so you just got to get a sense of here. You can. This is what I experienced, Nick.
I just saw it on type there. I feel like I'm there. I feel like I'm at media night with you.
Wish it wasn't so choppy. I don't know what's going on there, but
that's just because there's Fox 4.
Yeah, there we go.
Yep, I know him.
Yep, and that was when my new little gizmo there, my Osmo gizmo.
Osmo.
As you'll tell, Nick, it's
Matt. They can't see Gizmo. That's probably copyrighted from that movie.
It probably
Rustin Dodd.
There you go. You will notice, yes, every once in a while, the auto face detect turns on, and so it just like locks on a particular person.
Yep.
But yeah, here I am trying to navigate my way through the crowd, and this was during the Eagles, so.
This looks like fun.
Yeah, this is and
people
standing in front of you like that,
you couldn't keep going with the flow.
Exactly. Oh no, this is the world's. If you ever think that you've gone to the grocery store on a Sunday and it's just one of those days that people are spaced out and everyone's stopping in front of you, imagine if the grocery store had 5,000 people in it.
Now he probably feels like you're tailing him, like you're on an episode of The Night Agent. You keep following him.
It does kind of feel that way all of a sudden.
Jeez, Matt. Like this guy's like, I'm trying to walk away from this guy because I just want to show it live from my podcast. And he's like, I can't get away from this gentleman.
No, exactly. It does feel a little bit like a stalker. I mean,
there's Peter Schrager. Nice.
There you go. Oh, see, earlier, I think Jackie was asking about famous people that I ran into. I ran into famous people apparently last night and don't remember it. So
yeah, because you were too busy capturing the moment for all of us.
I was too busy trying to capture the moment for everyone. Here's Saquon Barkley. This is the same podium that Travis Kelce was at. So, you kind of get a sense of a little bit about what it was for Travis there. And then I think let me see if I still have it. I was trying to download it, so let's see if it is available. May not have transferred, but no, it did not. So I don't have that. But it is available on Twitter. So if you go to my Twitter stream from Tuesday night, you can see the video of Travis's podium in his area. It was something else. Matt, Philosophile Phil, our good friend Phil,
where I feel like I'm there. Okay,
I'm gonna do one. I will do it.
More videos.
I'll do it if you answer Phil's question about D-Hop being motivated to perform and what are your expectations. A little bit different question than we had a few moments ago, but
wasn't he just 4.7 earlier? Didn't he upgrade? Did he upgrade? I thought I've already answered this question. I'm 90%.
I thought it was a different version of the same question. Okay, it may have been the same. It may have been the same question, Phil. Sorry, I'm getting distracted.
Yeah, that was Phil 4.7. Man, we moved past that.
Right. All right, here will be your opportunity to attack or defend special teams. Darren, I haven't necessarily been impressed with the Chiefs' special teams coverage lately. This Tobe do drills that improved the gunner's ability to locate punts and down them inside the 5.
So what I can attest for you from Matt. No way. Do you not see that? Do you not see that raven or crow walking behind you? There's literally a bird right behind you, Matt.
There are pigeons in here. Yes.
No, Matt, that looks like a raven from here, bro. Over your other way, yeah. other way.
It just went this way.
Oh, it went that way.
So, yeah, it went that way. I mean, unless there's another one, but no, it was a pigeon.
That is fantastic, man. I was like, oh, they're just letting Eagles in there. That's cool.
The Eagles are not in here. The Pigeons are in here.
The Ravens couldn't make it there, for the Super Bowl as a team, so they brought their mascot. That's awesome. So what I kind of tested with Dave, man, like they spend like literally 30 minutes up at training camp. They at various points, whether it's kick coverage or punt coverage, they have gunner after gunner after gunner after gunner like work on that and try to do the coffin corner kicks down inside the 5. So do they do that? Yes. Is Joshua Williams the best at it? No. But he tries really hard, and that's a role they can use. No, you just got to mute it, man.
No, it added him automatically. I don't know why it did that.
Oh, you just got to hit that mute button. Once the video pops up, you hit the mute button.
Well, I know, but I just added it, like you add videos.
Yeah. Except
it started playing automatically.
Well, then you probably, when you did the video file, did you add it? When you added it, you probably added, there's 2 ways you add it. You either, you know what? Never mind.
Matt can't handle this.
No, I got nothing on it. No, but Dave Tope does work on that, and does Joshua Williams have the best intuition with it? No, but he tries his best there. That's basically what I can tell you the most out of it.
You're right. I mean, they do work at it like crazy, and so
relentlessly. Like in terms of how much time he gets to work with the special teams versus previous Chiefs head coaches I got to watch over time. It's a whole different level. Like special team, there's a reason why they win that phase on a regular basis is because Andy Reid makes sure that they get the same amount of time and dedication that offense and defense do throughout the year. So I do want to say that.
Okay, I'm adding a second video file, Nick, and just so you know that I'm not crazy, I've clicked it, and then I'm given the option to open, which is supposed to add it, but it's probably going to play automatically. Except I told you. Okay, but here now we managed to mute it, and we'll get to comment over there so you can see it. Yeah, this was Travis's podium last night. So play it one more time, so you can just see the traffic around and the beehive of activity. I mean that's the closest I got all night to Travis. So that tells you a little bit right there.
Yeah, no, I don't doubt it.
And and Travis is there. I mean, it's hard to tell, but he actually was at that podium. So,
well, maybe you get to talk to him later this week.
But it could have been a lookalike. And frankly, 75% of the people wouldn't know because they're not close enough to be able to tell.
It was not a lookalike. I saw the podium up close.
It was definitely not. No, it's true. And then one more I'll share. This was at the end of the night. This was Jawan Taylor signed some autographs. Obviously, fans excited to see. So, no, that was
yeah.
Yes. So yeah, there you go. So, and that was when Jawan was told, "Hey, Jawan, buses are leaving." So, there you go. You've lived at least a little bit vicariously about how it was like for me last night, Nick.
Outstanding, Matt. That's all the people want. That's really all they want. It's only a couple places they can get this access, Matt, and one of them is your Chiefs Q&A.
All right, couple of more questions because I did ask for last call, and then you fired in some questions, and then I showed a bunch of videos. So let's finish them off real quick. Andrew, if Mahomes three-peats, does it make it official that Mahomes is the GOAT in the NFL? I mean,
it depends. It depends on what fan base it is, because some fan bases are going to still say Brady's the best. A lot of people are going to say that Brady's beat Mahomes head-to-head in playoff games, and that Mahomes didn't beat him in the Super Bowl, didn't beat him in the AFC Championship game. So, there's still going to be that argument, and I genuinely believe Mahomes could win 8 Super Bowls, and people will still say that Brady was better because he beat Mahomes directly. So, I personally don't care. I just want to see the Chiefs get a three-peat done, and so then that's the first step of Mahomes doing something different that no other quarterback has done and no other NFL team has been able to do outside the Packers when it was technically part of before the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, I'm with. I'm with you. I mean, I'll just flat out say it. No, I mean, Tom's got 7. I mean, until you get to there, it's I still think you're chasing number 1. So no, I mean, I think he still has more work to do. I mean, he could absolutely still get there. So don't count him out. I'm not betting against Patrick Mahomes on winning 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I mean, dude can seemingly do just about anything. But I mean, hey, winning 3 in a row, yes, it's something that no one else has done that makes it a special category. But hey, when you talk about greatest of all time, somebody's always going to say 7 is more than 4.
Hey,
Jackie,
Matt. 5 out of 4 people struggle with math.
If you do not know that 7 is more than 4, you might struggle with math. Jackie, what was your favorite question you asked someone at Media Day? And here's where I'm going to wimp out a little bit, but just, once again, kind of peel the onion back.
Boo this man, boo.
Because my favorite questions are ones that you won't get to see or hear, because once again, we get to talk to people at the Super Bowl with the Chiefs that we don't see the rest of the year. So, last night I got to have 20-minute conversation with a front office member of the organization that I'm not going to get to have that in Kansas City. So that was incredible. And guys, I tried to catch up with him last night. But I mean, oddly enough, when I came by, he was busy. It was Mike Frazier, who is the stats guru, the analytics guru for the Chiefs. And I love talking to Mike. The only time of the year that the Chiefs let us talk to Mike is at the Super Bowl. So I love talking to him. I'm going to talk to him at some point over the next couple of days. But Mike does not like to be on camera, so you probably won't get to see that. But those are my favorite. I mean, those are my favorite conversations and my favorite questions. So you might find the answers to some of those questions in the days and weeks and months ahead on Chiefs Digest, because they may inform future stories. So,
hey, you want to hear one of the ones I heard earlier today that made me cringe?
Was it involving crypto or stock investments?
No, I didn't even know about those. Somebody's like, Jalen, despite having an amazing career, how do you prove the doubters wrong? I'm like, one, you were making an assumption that he's had an amazing career, like in your question. And then proving the doubters wrong. Who cares? Who cares? There's always going to be somebody doubting somebody. So there's going to be somebody that's always going to be like, that question was sloppy, lazy, and it wasn't journalism. So, but at least they got a credential to go cover that and ask that question to him. And that guy kept trying to get he kept trying to get in. He said his name like 5 different times, and people just kept talking over him. And then he got that gem of a question in, and then just shot it down. And he's like, yeah, I don't really worry about outside noise. And there's just too many people. There's too many people that don't work around NFL teams on a day in, day out basis, or sports in general, that don't understand. Once you ask questions a certain way, you're going to get coach speak or player speak of what they're taught by the PR departments, past or present or college or whatever. So you spent your entire trip for that moment to get them to give you a canned answer that you could have gotten pretty much any time. So congrats on that.
And as we both know, there's a lot of the questions are asked by some folks who are hoping to go viral and get something that will get them some traction.
Yep.
Sometimes they're controversial questions of that nature. Sometimes they're just, I mean, I guess people care about, but I don't care what Patrick Mahomes thinks about the Luka Doncic, whatever his name is, trade. But it was. I assume I haven't seen it yet. I haven't gone through the complete transaction transcripts, but I'm assuming that Patrick's been asked that about 25 times the last 2 days.
Yeah, I know he's been asked a couple times.
Andrew has a very off-topic question. Our favorite restaurants in Kansas City. I know you probably don't want to single one out, Nick, because there are many.
I love me some Joe's Kansas City. Love certain things at Q39. Love Garozzo's. I do like going to Cascones up in the Northland. Let's see.
Good choice.
Yeah, I mean, there's more. I've got a spot for each type of food. So I mean, like there's a spot I like to go to for it all.
I mean, and some of my favorites are, I mean, I'm ride or die with them no matter what. I mean, but also because sometimes it's location, sometimes it's great. So, I mean, to me, Smokehouse Barbecue in the Northland, totally underrated. And you got to go to the one on North Oak. I mean, because they're all good, but that one's the best. So always going to be my ride or die barbecue.
I apologize to the people at Zona Rosa that see me come there and hear. I've heard Matt say this.
Nothing wrong with Zona Rosa.
Longboards is one of my spots for burritos.
There you go.
I got a spot for everything.
Man, I hadn't really gone down that road, but I mean,
I love Jamaica's down in Northtown. That's another good spot.
That is a good spot. Ever been to Eileen's Cookie?
No.
In Liberty? I mean, Eileen's makes a mean cookie.
Are they the one that did the Jason Kelsey thing that I helped him go viral on?
I think they were, yes. I think that was, yes.
I put that on Twitter, and they get a lot of attention after that.
Yes.
So
I didn't really even go down the Mexican route because those are probably my favorite restaurants. As much as I love barbecue, I do love me some Mexican food, tacos and burritos and flautas and nachos and quesadillas and guacamole. So
where are we at in the lightning round now?
I was getting ready to go, tell everybody about how much I love Rancho Grande. I mean, I'm always going to promote Northland restaurants because there's not enough great restaurants in the Northland. So I'm always ride or die Northland restaurants.
No.
Jake, do you have any predictions for what tricks Andy may have for Sunday that he's been setting up on film during the season, formations, concepts, or otherwise?
Asked earlier and answered.
Answered. My Cliff's Notes version, I mean, I think you're good at the chances are high you're going to see some form of the inverted wishbone, the diamond passing formation. There could be a lot of different things, but as Andy said today, when asked about, if there's any trick plays, just have to wait till Sunday to see. Game of Mahomes. Do you think we will see more RPO than we did against the Bills, or do you think there will be a trips game plan?
Yeah, I talked about trips earlier. So I think
what about RPOs?
I don't know, man. We'll find out on Sunday. I'm sorry, Matt. I've reached my limit at this point.
You reached your limit?
Yep.
Well, I mean, we have been seeing fewer and fewer RPOs, and I do wonder if maybe they might even reel it back in a little bit after the fumble last week. Well, 2 weeks ago. Well, a week and a half ago. I can say both. All right, we just have a couple left. We can give lightning round answers.
You can give lightning round answers.
Media with questions of team has been unprofessional conduct. You have not like happened during media events. I mean, that's Super Bowl opening night, Joe. That's my answer.
It is what it is. I don't know. I haven't been to media night, so I can't tell you.
All right. 2 more lightning round. How are you guys feeling about Joe Tooney at left tackle against the Eagles pass rush? I'm fine.
He'll be fun.
He'll be fine. And finally, Brian, Ponax or Mama Tio's? I've not been to Mama Tio's, but I do love me some Ponax.
I haven't been to either one of them. I'm sorry.
See, there you go. All right, everybody. I'm going to let Nick go because he's had enough of it.
Well, I gave you 2 hours.
Yes, you did.
Give you 2 whole hours.
I am always grateful for those hours, Nick. Thank you so much. Hey, everybody, have a great week. We are going to be back, hopefully, if Nick has not had too much of all of this on Friday. We're still figuring out a time. So we'll have another live Q&A, probably a little bit shorter, though, on Friday night. Answer some of your questions about what's just happened in the next couple of days. Sunday, Monday, after the game, win or lose, 41 is the mic. And continue, just follow along because there will be more content at ChiefsDigest.com, at ChiefsDigest on the YouTube channel. I will be doing my best to help you live vicariously through me this week.
Outstanding. That's all I ask.
Any parting thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I'm ready to go.
All right. I'm letting Nick get out of here, everybody. Have a great week.
All things Chiefs right here. 41 is the mic, a Chiefs podcast on your home of the Chiefs. Listen now wherever you get your podcasts.